COVID. Where to begin? In going to college, not even knowing that COVID would be a thing or ever imagining that it would be. Where do I even start? 2 years of Zoom University and 2 years of Simmons University. COVID hit hard, and it hit a lot of us like mentally pretty hard too. I came into school for psychology. I was playing soccer, I had a great group of friends, and it wasn't until sophomore year, spring break, I was in the airport and I got an email telling us that we're not coming back to school. We had a few days, they gave us a few days to take our stuff and get out, basically. I was very distraught, and I was so upset just because I loved being there. And throughout COVID, we went to online schooling, Zoom University, and it was weird. It was really weird just having to, see everybody in these tiny boxes and like not have that same experience, or taking classes like animation, video production, where you don't have any equipment, or it's a hands-on process of not having your professor to be there to, show you what's right and wrong. It was very tough. It just wasn't the same. We didn't have that social aspect, and being around in these small classes, which is the reason I picked Simmons, and having this relationship with your professor, where all of those relationships started to kind of slowly fade a little bit more. It was really nerve-wracking, the fact that maybe we wouldn't graduate in person, that maybe we'd have to do it over a computer. And that was tough, and it was a weird feeling. But with it, it was just basically for those 2 years, it was you'd wake up, I'd roll over, open my laptop, log on to Zoom, go to class for an hour and a half or sometimes 3 hours, and then immediately after class is ended, you'd leave the meeting, close the laptop, and I would just lay in bed. I would just stay there and have no idea what to do with myself. Just the whole time, just kind of stare off into space, find anything else to pay attention to, because it was so difficult, because you had anything else to focus on, whereas in class you're pretty much focused on what's happening right in front of you, versus it's hard to constantly be paying attention to a screen. Felt like half the time my eyes were popping out of my sockets. My grades did increase a little bit, especially in test taking. It was still hard to focus and actually kind of retain the information you were learning, and seeing my friends in these tiny boxes and just not being able to hang out with them like in class or go get lunch at the dining hall together. It felt like it was never going to end. With it feeling like it was never gonna end, and nervous about graduation, and if I'd see my friends, we were back on the ground. It was weird. Having to kind of almost relearn everything, and just like what it was like to be in a classroom, and getting used to that again. But here we are. It's May 2022, and I graduated. I graduated in person. I walked across the stage, and it was nice to be able to do that in person after the chaos that was going to college throughout COVID. It gave you a lot of realizations. For me, it was realizing that I'm gonna pursue film, and that's what I'm gonna make use of with my time. But it was also pretty lonely. But if anything, it kind of strengthened the relationships I had with people, and not take for granted the time that I had with them face to face. Despite COVID still being here and the fact that it probably will never go away, I'm now out of college. The Zoom classes were a little bit worth it, because the feeling now that I have, it's a damn good feeling.